Hi, I'm Dexter, and we're here today at Finder's Fayre with local artist Summer Lydick. She will be our featured artist at the upcoming Contemporary Local Artist Show Series, opening here in the store on February the 6th. And Summer, I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I love your art, and I've seen some of your work, and I'd like to ask you some questions about it.
Excellent.
For instance, this piece behind us. I can tell that there's many layers to it, and there's different even materials in it. Would you call it a mixed media?
Yes, it is a mixed media, which is not to be confused with multimedia, which is all digital and graphic design.
Okay.
So mixed media means there are different mediums that actually went into making it. This here is all latex paint. I have a business working on people's homes and doing a lot of decorative painting, so I collect gallons and gallons of latex paint. And I love it for its elasticity. So I typically work up to about 40 layers in my paintings.
40?
Yeah, and it's a very intuitive process, and I work outside, often in the sun. So the paint stays elastic. It never totally cures until I bring it inside. So I'll work just intuitively layering up all these layers, and then I start to kind of excavate back through them and physically pull the layers off. And a lot of times it will pull them completely to the board. This is a masonite board that I work with. Canvas is just too flexible for the type of process that I do. And after layering, it just really becomes an editing process of what stays, what goes, and how I can manipulate the plasticity of the paint.
Well, now, I know you have a master's degree in art from Lamar, but you also say that you dance when you paint. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I grew up as a dancer, and when I got to college, I had an opportunity for the dance scholarship and the art scholarship. And I tried out for both, and I got the art scholarship, so thus I became an artist. But dance is never far from my heart, and the creative process is really one and the same. Some people channel it through writing, some people channel it through cooking. For me, I have music on when I paint, and it's a way of the creative process just takes over, and so the personality and the ego, in order for the painting to be successful, have to leave the process. So I become kind of a channel through which the creativity flows, and I just become really animated and get excited in responding to the canvas, responding to the work, and I just start moving and grooving. And I know it's a good thing when I'm dancing.
So, when you finish with a piece of art, it may take more than a day, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you finish, you have a personal memory, I guess, of the dance that you associate with it, or the music?
Kind of, and kind of not, because, like I said, in moments of great creativity, your ego is gone, and if you're really open to the process, it's not something that you are controlling. It's something that's moving through you. Wow. So when I stand back and look at a painting, I often can't remember how it came to be. I remember I was there, but I don't remember each stroke or each decision. I remember some of the major decisions of, like this piece, for instance. There are all these dots, and they're all white. And I remember making a conscious effort to mask off some of those things because they were too overwhelming. But like the piece with the yellow area there, that swath across there, I don't remember that. So I'm often just as amazed at the end product as my audience is. Because it's really, it's just very intuitive. I'm not living in the left side of the brain, which is logical and rational and thoughtful. The right side of the brain has no concept of time, and it's just intuitive and visual. And we don't really have a logical language for things that are visual. Like there is no language for anything about smell. No, about taste. We always say it tastes like this, it tastes like something, but we don't have a word specifically for how things taste. And that's kind of similar to this. I can't totally tell you what happened because it's beyond words. It's a sensory experience.
Well, I've read a little bit about expressionism. Would you call this expressionism?
Yeah, there's a lot of expressionism that goes into it, and that's kind of where the dance comes into play too. I paint with my entire body. It's a very physical process. I paint outside because I sling paint around, and I don't want to get it on the walls. So I have it all over my driveway and all over my fence, and it's a very active process. I put paint on, I respond to it, move the canvas around, set it down, stand it up, turn it upside down, spray it with a hose. It is a dance and a dialogue between me and the piece.
Okay. Well, I noticed you brought some of your work on paper.
I did. These are somewhat restrictive for me because they're smaller and they're on paper. So I can't be nearly as aggressive with the paint and my materials as I can with the larger pieces. These were made in Paris, outside. I had a tiny little balcony. So I really had to get creative with my materials. And my work is always about my materials. It's not, I was having a bad day, or I was being emotional, or was working through something. My work is just about my materials. It's about the process. It's about layering. Content for me is found in texture and color, and then these two go together.
I noticed, like, this is a...
Down. Change this one. Yep.
Like this disc and the washers.
Yeah, found objects often show up in my work. I was kind of obsessively collecting little bits of random things that were cast off I found in just parking lots and wherever. I was really attracted to the surface of rust and decay. That was the big inspiration for me. Peeling billboards, flaking paint, corrosion, rusted things.
Oh.
So that's what attracted me to these little bits. And I love jewelry. So I started to attach these on as a way of kind of accessorizing the painting.
What an idea.
And then it became something more for people to access the painting. Like, a lot of people dismiss contemporary artwork. They don't quite understand it, which I get that. But they know what a washer is. They know what a bottle cap is. So if even for a moment these little recognizable bits connect them with the painting, maybe they'll stop just for a few more moments to kind of look around at what else is in the painting. You know, they might not understand big swaths and blobs of color, but they know what a battery is. They know what a key is. They know what a shell is. And often people have very cognitive memories associated with these things. So that shell might remind them, oh, the beach. Well, but why is this shell on this big blue area? And what does that number mean? So if it gets them to stop and explore something that they don't understand and they're not comfortable with, even for just a few more moments, then I feel like I'm successful.
Well, that's been my own experience with modern art. Because my background comes from traditional art.
Right.
And it was when something drew me in that made me look at things and realize that there was just a lot I didn't know.
Yes.
And a lot that I wanted to understand, whether I chose to like it or not, but I wanted to understand it.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of a roadblock for a lot of people. And I think the idea about the found objects is an interesting approach to kind of getting over that bridge past that roadblock.
And I can't claim that as mine. I was inspired by Robert Rauschenberg, who is the greatest artist to rise out of this area. And I was in college struggling as an art major, making pretty pictures. Because to me, that's what art was about. It was something beautiful. And I went to his retrospective in Houston, and it took up the Contemporary Arts Museum, the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, and the Menil. All these three major institutions had his work. And it wasn't until I got to one of his paintings, and he had a sock on it. And he is famous for his combines, where he was literally using whatever he had in his environment, just out of necessity. And that is the light bulb moment when it hit that art is about every day. It's about your experience. It's about, the mundane, the sublime, the amazing. It's not necessarily always about beauty or always about a pretty picture. It's about the struggle. It's about the process. It's about your materials. And that, for me, is what turned it on. I was like, I can do whatever I want now and really play and explore and turn things around in a different way.
Well, that kind of trying to break away from the restrictions of tradition and trying to be free and play and have fun and express the creativity that you have. I mean, I think everybody that is creative, that it's a gift, and being able to transfer what's inside, I guess, to something that can be visually understood or shared is a major process, and one that requires not only skill like you have, but also the mind that can figure out how to take what's inside and put it outside.
Well, and it takes great courage, too, because often these creations aren't something accepted. It's something new, it's something different, especially for the artist or the creator, and it takes a lot of courage to let these things out. Because often, I don't understand my own work, and that's okay. I love to hear what other people say about it and to get their responses, but for me, it's about the process and being engaged, and when the painting is done, it's over for me.
Well, that seems to be a common thread with a lot of artists. Artists that never would explain their work, for instance, like Picasso never explained his work.
Yeah.
Marcel Duchamp. I mean, he wouldn't even footnote it. I mean, he just made it, and whatever it was, it was. And I guess that kind of detaches you from it in one respect.
Yeah.
And it's not so much a child as it is, which you want to be protective of, as it is just like something you want to share. Well, that's very interesting. And I hope that you all will come out for First Thursday. Again, it's on February the 6th, and we'll be open that night from 5 to 9. It's a late night for us, and Summer will be here, and she'll have a lot of her pieces on exhibit and some new pieces that she is in the process of getting ready. So it'll be here for the whole month of February, and we hope you'll come by for a visit, meet Summer, and get acquainted with some of her work. Thank you very much.